So I asked my girlfriend Glow if she had any questions for tonight, and she recommended that we speak more on mental health and how we deal with loneliness.
Like a healthy way to deal with it?
A healthy way to deal with it. If you're feeling lonely, you don't have anyone to talk to, or you're not comfortable, what do you guys do to get that out of your mind or kind of feel more comforted by yourself?
Okay, I mean, I'll start. Obviously, like finding hobbies, finding shit to do, getting a job, keeping yourself busy. But like I told my sister this once, and I feel like I really stand by that. Like, even if you're feeling down because of something that happened, like don't impulsively like try to make yourself feel better in that moment. Like sometimes you just gotta like be fucking sad, you know, and just like be by yourself and like really like honestly you have to learn to love yourself. Like that's so cliche, but honestly if you don't love yourself, like you can't do anything right. So
what's an impulsive way to feel better though?
Like going on dating apps, like swiping. It's like
forcing it?
Not forcing it, but
like just looking for something to fill it. Like
fill the void, you know? Like
Yeah.
it can be anything. Like people, that's where like drug abuse and like alcohol abuse come in. And like
sex.
that's when like mental health gets really bad. Like sex is another one that people sometimes can abuse to like fill that void, but that doesn't do anything. Like when I broke up with my last boyfriend, I literally cried to Cynthia for like a week straight, and she was like, I'm sick and tired of this. Like you need to just like suffer through this right now and like do everything.
Because you were like, what can I do? Like, what do I do? I'm like, nothing. Like, stop. This is over. Like, accept it.
It took me like 2 weeks to finally stop crying. And then I was like, okay, now what can I do to like make this breakup different so that I don't go back to the same stuff? And that was when I did like the whole sex ban. I didn't go on any dating apps. Like I didn't see anybody for like 2 months until I was like okay with like being by myself.
Like your mind clears up. Like eventually you're like, oh.
After a month, I was like, okay, I'm fine. Also, the no contact thing with the ex is huge. Like just do things that you want to do. Like literally me, I'd be like, I really want to go to Target and like just walk around the aisles. And I have nobody to do that with, but I just like.
And you're sad, but just be sad and do it. Like who says you have to be happy? Be fucking sad and walk in Target.
That's a bar.
I literally one time got baked in my car outside of Target and put on sunglasses and walked around and cried for an hour and a half. I was just listening to music. I was like reading every single thing on the labels. Like I was like, this is gonna make me feel better. So I went and did it. Even though I was doing it by myself, I was like playing music that made me feel good. I was looking at things that maybe I thought were cute in the moment. I was just like feeling all my feelings, and then I just went home once I sobered up, and I felt so much better.
I got to take you to Target. I feel like you know where all the good shit's at.
Yeah, I love Target.
I love Target too.
Love Target.
4 out of 10 people are blasted in Target.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Every time I go to Target now, I'm completely blasted.
That was something I used to do when I was faded. I would just like get faded and go to Target. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I could spend like 2 hours in Target.
What do you do for 2 hours?
Walk down every
Reading
aisle.
labels?
Reading labels, yeah.
And listening to music in there is just cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, you walk around with your headphones in.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd probably be, especially like I feel like late at night even. I feel like that'd
Yeah.
be sick as fuck.
Yeah.
I gotta try that out.
And Target employees like don't bug you.
True.
nah.
They're probably blasted too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're probably
Oh, yeah.
blasted too.
Oh yeah.
Most def.
Maria?
Cynthia and Christine pretty much said everything. That's about it. Yeah, like distractions are good, but like Cynthia said, sometimes you just gotta feel and go through that shit. Cause then even if you distract yourself, that's still gonna hit later. Like you can't just like push it down.
Just don't use men as a distraction, I guess.
Most
Or like
definitely.
wanting external validation from men.
Yeah.
Like hang out with your friends. Like be social.
Wait,
like,
yeah, loving
good thing.
yourself also does not mean like having to get validation from anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it just means being cool with yourself.
Yeah.
Would you guys say that most girls that want like men for validation, is that just because they don't love themselves? Or like they're just not insecure? Or like what is that?
I think there's like two different types of people. Like there's some people that do love it and like it just adds to their self-esteem. And then there's some people that they use it to like mask as self-esteem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say that was me at one point,
Big points.
where I would go to a lot of people and tell them how I felt, and if they say like give me tips, I'd feel a lot better. But I was never doing anything for myself. I was just kind of like getting that energy.
What do you mean?
Like if I felt sad, let's say like I would hit up like all you guys, and all you guys told me like, oh, like I'm here for you.
Yeah.
It would just make me feel better, but I wasn't doing anything myself to make myself feel better.
Oh.
So I was kind of getting that temporary like.
You were depending on your friend's texts to like
Exactly.
cheer you up and
Which
like,
I feel like a lot of people be doing.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
So
good.
yeah, that was a great way to bring it up.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how I developed as a person though. Because I used to go to so many people and just be like, not even what can I do, just be like, I am feeling sad right now. And they'd be like, I'm here for you. Just like that, I would feel better, but only temporarily. And that took a long time to develop, like get out of that stage to do shit for me. Instead of going to everybody telling how I feel, like I would go to my trusted people, not just like friends. Because I had like a lot of friends back then or whatever, you know, but like high school type shit. But as my circle got smaller, like I knew who truly I could talk to about my shit, as well as not even just talk to people, just do shit for me. So I would stop at telling people I'm sad, fucking grind on my own shit, and that made me feel so much better than always seeking validation or just like that temporary feeling of like almost, I don't know how to describe it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 Period. I was gonna add to that. Also, another thing is I realized like when you like keep talking about being lonely, being sad, like that kind of makes it worse. Sometimes it's okay to feel it and stuff, but like when you constantly go to other people, like I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling like sad as fuck, like I'm feeling this and that. For me, like I realized that shit makes me feel worse, you know? Yeah.
I do agree with that.
I think
Yeah.
journaling helps a lot with that. Like,
yes.
I have picked up journaling a lot recently because of that, where it's like, and that way too, when I do go to other people to like ask for help or say like, hey, can I get your advice on this or this? It's like
you
I
know
have
what the fuck you want.
exactly. I
to ask
have
for.
my thoughts written out, and I have like literal bullet points of like, these are the things I want to cover in this conversation that I want to have with
Yeah.
you.
That's
And like
smart.
that is a really helpful thing to do with just yourself. Like ask yourself a lot of questions and see how you respond
Yeah.
to your own questions.
Like journaling is just like the main way to like reflect on yourself. So like you don't have to journal, like you can like meditate, but like just think about yourself. Like at the end of the day, nobody gives a flying fuck about you or anyone. The only person who gives a fuck about you is yourself. The only one who's gonna care for you till the end is yourself. So like just fucking learn to love yourself and
Yeah.
like not give a fuck about what anyone else thinks, because
Yeah.
that shit does not fucking matter. It doesn't.
Didn't you say that journaling?
I was going to say, oh, sorry to interrupt.
Interrupt me, buddy. Go ahead.
No,
Interrupt
because
me.
I was going to say that earlier
What?
too. When you brought up journaling, didn't you mention before that it wasn't just the bad things to write down, but
Yeah.
you learned to write the good things and
Yeah.
that helps
That
you a
makes
lot?
you feel like way
Yeah.
better, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
I usually end my journaling with that.
Yeah. Me, you.
But yeah.
Yo, shadow work. I used to do that when I was
Shadow
like,
boxing?
Shadow work.
What's
It's
that?
basically kind of like journaling, but like it's like questions that go deep into like the dark side of things. But like you're just trying to understand. It's not bad, but it's just like you're just trying to understand like the dark parts of yourself.
So what?
basically.
You're asking yourself dark things, or you're going somewhere to ask you?
No, you're asking yourself
Got
like,
it.
why do I act this way, or why do I always feel like I'm not enough? Why
Got
do
it.
But like, see, that's such like a cynical way to like look at it. Like, why would you think about like, why am I this way, or why
In a
am
negative
I like
way,
this?
in like a
Yeah.
negative way.
because it makes you realize like what the root of the problem is, like why you act in this way or why you feel in that. It's good to look at why, you know,
Mhm.
and then so then you could fix it.
I think when you ask the question that way though,
It forces you to like bring out the negatives.
yeah, because you're trying to blame it on something else. Does that make
Oh.
sense? Because like when you're saying like, why is my life like this? Like
No, not like that.
or,
I'm talking about like just like why do I like just stuff that like, let's say like let me try to think of
Wait,
something.
Mara, I get what you're saying, but like I'm trying to say like I think that just causes more stress on you. Like try looking at it like, oh, maybe I can be like this. Like, how can I be like this? Or
but
like
when you want to change for that to become better, you got to realize like what you're doing wrong. Like what kind of mentality you have inside that you need to fix. You can't, you know what I mean?
Like, why am
Yeah.
I doing this?
It can work both ways because
Yeah.
I can see you probably have the strength to do that, but like from Cynthia's standpoint, I feel like I would drown myself in sorrows by doing that. But like, I mean, everybody's different though.
Everybody
Yeah, I
is
was gonna say,
different.
everybody has
Like
their
I
own
don't have the same strength as you. I could tell like you're more spiritual all that way.
Yeah.
So you probably like you could develop as a better person through that compared to me where it's like
beat yourself up kind of thing.
I'd beat
Yeah.
myself up over
I
it.
think that is just
Yeah.
how I am too. Like I don't want to do that to myself.
But that's like a lot of strength to do that.
I think
though.
that you look at it and you're like, this is the problem. I'm gonna fix it. But I can see where some people are like, I have this problem. Like this defines me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like I said with you though, you want to work on it. But I also get what they're saying though, where it's kind of like I get why people should be finding the root of the problem, and then definitely trying to fix it, but not always looking back at the root of the problem or always blaming it on this one reason.
Oh yeah,
you know
most
what I mean?
definitely no. It's just
Yeah.
like one way that has helped me before.
Do you want to add on to anything?
Video games,
I don't like video games.
Fall Guys.
Fall Guys, men falling.
I don't know. I think I don't like crying, so I feel like sometimes like when I can open up to somebody or like I tend to think about it right away. Like let's say a situation like I'm hurt by somebody, like as soon as that happens, like I'm like I think to myself like damn, like, and I find myself starting to cry. I'm like okay, I actually need to like think about this situation. Like why am I feeling like this? Why am I kind of choking up on things? And I just need to feel it right away. Like I need to cry. Like when I cry, like I kind of just like let it all out because it's like so much stuff that I never really cried about that I have to do it. Yeah. And it just like over time it just gets it all out.
Yeah.
And that way I feel a lot better. I don't really talk to like people about like my stuff too much. So I try to just keep it to myself and kind of get it through people without asking. You know what I mean? Like just analyzing people, like seeing how they do stuff. And just do that for myself.
You have gotten a lot better about opening up to your problems.
Yeah, for sure.
Because back then, I remember you used to hold in a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
have to
all
talk
that
about
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get any specific, but it would like I remember, I would think you'd be okay, and then we'd have that one night.
Yeah.
Where we just get deep.
I mean, it's good probably to talk
but
about
I could tell like you talking about it with me especially, I feel like that helped you out a lot in the long run, like to where now you know how to deal with your shit.
Yeah, I think.
And like just not like keep it enclosed
Yeah.
that was much.
That situation was like, I guess I mean, dude, I don't know how much time we got.
You can keep talking. No, we straight. Dude, I have an editor now. Yeah, like you can talk for as long as you want now. I don't got an issue with it. I would have cut you off 30 minutes ago if I was still editing this. Go ahead.
I went through like some crazy shit, like just like growing up and stuff, and then like it just like kind of got worse, and then it got better, and then like it hit a fucking like just boom straight like shot down. Like I didn't really know what to do, or like that's why I told you guys like I went kind of like mute just for like 2 months, like not talking to anybody or like having a conversation with anyone, just because I was going like actually crazy. Like I thought I was gonna be like spiraling down to like being fucking like what's the name of that, schizophrenic, like some shit like that, because I would just be actually that insane. Yeah. So Devin
knows a thing or two about that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was weird. It was really weird, and I didn't realize how hurt I was by everything until like
You talking about
I was kind of just
back in your like childhood or by anything?
No, about like the recent situation. Like I could talk about it like a little bit. Like okay, so my stepdad, like he was a Marine, right? And like he's like mentally like insane, like at time he's bipolar, like what is it when it's like
His PTSD.
really bad? Yeah. I would say chronic at this. I don't fucking something like what is it?
When it has to do with bipolar?
It's just so like it's really bad.
Severe?
Severe. Yeah, it's very severe. It's like it'll just be super bad, and like it's like people you see on the street, like kind of just like kind of going crazy. So like when you're in a situation like that, like in like by yourself, and this was during quarantine too, like I had nobody really to talk to. I didn't like want to talk to about it with anybody because nobody really like goes through that kind of stuff. So I was like, what is anybody gonna tell me anything? Which is a stupid thing. I should have just like talked to somebody. But I didn't realize how bad it was until like I kind of started going out, and like I didn't tell anybody that, but I was kind of just drinking just to like kind of just like fill that void, just to like just trying to like not really think about anything. I know it was like really selfish of myself too, but I would just be doing anything just to not talk about it. And my mom would get like so mad at me. She's like, Sage, like, why do you not talk about anything? Like, what happened to you? Like, what's going on? And I wouldn't be able to answer. Like, I'd be this like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, it kind of like killed me in a sense. Like, I had nothing. Like, I really had nothing to like really want to even do anything for. Like, I just want to get up. I don't want to do anything. So then, like, I ended up being like into like a bad like night. Like, it just like spiraled down, and I was like, man, Sage, like, what the fuck? Like, why'd you do that? Or like, what led to this point where you're so like helpless? Like, why do you feel like nobody could help you at anything? And then my dad was like, Sage, like, you gotta wake the fuck up. Like, what's going on, dude? Like, you know how many people like you could have, like, you know what I mean? You're hurting me, you're hurting your mom, you're hurting people like around you. It's very he didn't say like it's selfish in a point, but that's like kind of what I got out of it, because like I don't only live this life for myself. Like, I live this life for my mom, like, to make people proud, like, you know what I mean? Like, for my friends, like, people that I love. So I think just over time, it just made me want to feel emotions more, which I'm trying to get, like, better at, like, and talking to people. That's why when like, somebody kind of shuns me, like, my feelings down, or, like, kind of just, like, doesn't let me talk, I'll be like, all right, like, I already went through this. Like, I'm not really going to make it a big deal or anything, because I already kind of went through it. Yeah. But I think that's kind of the moral story of everything.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense, like, why, like, how you deal with things, too. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, though.
Yeah,
nah, thank you. But it makes sense, because there's people like that, too, you know? It sucks to say, but, like, yeah, none of us have really gone through that. So I understand where you're coming from when you were like, yo, who am I supposed to talk to about it? But just talking to anybody that's going to sit there and listen.
Yeah.
Fuck, like, I fucking get it. Like, I've shut my whole family out. Like, at one point, I feel like I have the tendency to like shut people out sometimes too. So I
I feel like that's the way some people are like raised. My sister
had like a wake up call talk with me. Like, she was like our dad's like worried about you. Like,
yeah, it makes you definitely think about it. Like,
so.
Everything.
I think I've had that same problem too, shutting shit out with my family. I think I've spoke about this a little bit, but that specific time, remember I called you just crying? I told you, and I think Sage, that I would, like, the next day after I called you, it was just me and my dad at home. And, like, I remember he was just working in the garage or whatever. And, like, I was just sitting there and I was just like, I am so fucking sad. Like, what is wrong with me? And then, like, this situation like, changed my perspective on everything, where it was like, I claimed to be happy because I went through, like, a whole depressive state for, like, a year or two. Remember that shit? I would, like, always cry to Sage, but, like, every fucking day. And then I felt like I got over it, but I wasn't complete. I feel like I just swept it under the rug. So at that point, at some point it just came back up to the top of my mind, and it started eating me alive again. And at that point was that day where I called you crying, and you said, like, let me know if you need anything. All right, hung up, thought I was good, right back to crying. My dad was the only one home, and then I remember right when he walked in, I just stood in front of him and I just gave him a hug and started bawling my eyes out. And he asked, like, what was wrong and everything. I told him. And then he, like, talked to my mom about it. And from there on, I learned the same thing you did, where it was like, I wasn't just hurting myself, but, like, I had my parents worried about me, my brothers, like, the people I live life for. And that was probably, like, the worst part to it, because I realized, like, it's okay to be sad, but, like, it's another thing to be selfish. To where, like, I was only caring about how I felt, like, not the broader picture, why I live, who gives me life. And I'm hurting the people that love me the most. So, like, that changed my perspective to where, like, I was able to open up more, especially to my family. Because it was one thing to seek it from my friends, but, like, it's a whole nother feeling when your father, your mother, your brothers, your role models tell you, like, it's gonna be okay, like, we're here for you, you know, like, it's just a whole different feeling. And from, like, that day on, I realized, like, even if I'm still sad, like, it's gonna be okay. It's okay to feel that way. However, like, there's a bigger picture to it. You know, do it, like, people love you. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's just, it always sucks when, like, someone that you love is, like, when you see what you're doing to them.
Exactly. So, like, that whole depressive state I went through, I don't think I told my family about it. So I was like, my friends were helping me out a lot, like Sage, Carrie, Owen, all of them helped me out through it so freaking much. But and I felt like I was through it, But I think looking back at it now, I needed that support from my parents, which I want to say I sort of blamed because they weren't there for me, but
They didn't know what was going on.
they didn't know.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like moving forward in life,
That's the worst part. No,
Yeah.
that's the worst part. Yeah, that's the worst part.
moving forward in life, like that's the worst part.
Yeah.
Like I blame myself for that so much, but now I know like do better.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I push myself as a better man because of that. My parents, my family, yeah.
Exactly.
And even you guys, like my best friends.
Back in like high school, I remember like I hate arguing. Like I hate arguing, and like that's like all I remember. Like we can take a break.
Yeah,
we can take a break.
lucky I need a break too.
Nah, we'll take a little break.
I'm glad I can get through that without tears anymore. Cause fuck, whenever I tell like friends about it when they need help, like flowing. But we do it for the people.
I was gonna say real quick, just to add on, like I was gonna say, like I hate arguing, right? And like just because like, cause I look back at it for a little bit, like why I hated arguing. It was just cause like when I was younger, my dad always just came home like straight from work and just yelled. He was always yelling, you know. And he was bringing his work home you know. And he was always stressing about work, and like I get it, you know, like. But when I was little, like I would just shut up and like take it, right? And then as I got older, I just got in this habit of like my mom made me food, I'd go up to my room and watch TV and stuff like that because I was avoiding, you know, any argument, blah, blah, right? Because always like at the dinner table, he'd bring something up. And I'm like, why am I sitting at this table? You know, like, why am I sitting at this table? Like, you just got home from work, everyone's laughing, everyone's having a good time, and you sitting down and you're yelling, you know? And obviously, it wasn't just for like any reason. He'd be like, you know, like the trash isn't out, the dishes aren't done, stuff like that. It was, so then like as I grew up, I just ended up, like I said, going straight to my room and shutting up, right? I'd come home and I'd shut up. I wouldn't say anything. And I was like a sophomore, junior in high school, and I didn't know what it was doing to everybody else, but my mom came in my room and just broke down crying out of nowhere. And I was like, what is going on? She was like, why don't you like talk to me anymore? You
Dude,
know?
my mom did the same thing.
Same thing. And it's so scary to see your mom cry because of you. And in the moment, I was such a fucking asshole. Because I was like, because she started like crying. And I was like, what do you want me to do about it? You know, like I come home, like I come home, right?
Exact.
And it's so sucky to think about it now because it's just like, it's like, I can't imagine making my mom cry and then be in her face about like, you guys yell at me every time I come home, blah, blah. Like I was in her face, you know?
No, I was like, you yell, I don't want to deal with this
Exactly,
shit. Yeah.
exactly. And it's just like, and then obviously she started crying more. And at the time I was like, I'm not doing anything wrong. You know, like I'm not doing anything wrong. It just sucks because looking back at it now, obviously like, yeah, okay, yeah, my dad came home, blah, blah, and was yelling, you know, my mom was yelling, blah, blah. But it's like, I could have easily sat there and been like, you guys come here, you yell at me all the fucking time. Why would I sit at a table across from y'all and eat dinner, right? When I can go upstairs and watch fucking Adventure Time and laugh my ass
eating
off.
dinner in silence when everyone's fighting is
Exactly. It's terrible.
worst.
It's terrible. But and it's also sucky though at the same time because like looking back at it now, I really don't blame my mom or my dad because my dad did the best that he could, you know, and he provided for us. You know, that man, that was his whole like basis. Him growing up was I provide for you. You know, I come home, I want the dishes done. You know, I want the trash taken out. You know,
Yeah.
and it's just sucky because like looking back, I was so privileged and I just didn't recognize it. You know, I was sitting there on my phone playing video games, you know, and my dad would come home yelling, why are you yelling? You know? So I get it, but it's also like it's distilled in me where I just don't like arguing with people anymore. But it wasn't until my mom kind of like broke down in front of me where I'm like, okay, this is an issue, you know, and I'm hurting the people that I love by shutting up, you know? And it's just so scary because sometimes you don't realize what shutting up can really do because you think like, how can I hurt anybody if I'm not talking?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And you're hurting them the most by not talking.
I feel like my mom would have like liked it a lot better if I just came home and like even like yelling at her. It's just some people just it's just better, you know, because then she knows.
That shit turns into like anger because you're like, why are you getting mad at me for I didn't say shit to you? But like that's like why they're mad, but like they can't translate it to you. So it's just like.
But even that can be more therapeutic than, like I said, just shutting up. That's why I said like it's sucky to like think that we have all these issues that come back from like when we were little, and it's like now that we're growing up and we're learning, we looking back and reflecting on it.
We
you
have
know?
to break the cycle.
You
that
have
like
to. You
it's
have
like the
to.
generational trauma that you have to
exactly.
break.
And now and it sucks too because like even when I was living at home, I got a little bit better about it, but not crazy. But now moving out, bro, and like understanding like how much my mom did and my dad did, I go back, I tell her everything. I tell her what's going on in my life. You know, I talk to her about like who's in my life, who I love in my life, blah blah. And she loves that shit, bro. Like she'll sit there like and just talk to me, and it's just so fucking awesome. Now I'm eating and I'm talking to her, you know. I'm eating with my mouth full, you know.
Isn't it like weird? You look at her and be like, are we really having this conversation?
Yeah, I'm like, are we friends? Like,
Yeah.
we cool like that? I'm like, we cool like that. It's same thing with my sister too. It's just so cool because like I said before, I just shut up and just like prop my phone up. Yeah. So it's a cool feeling when you can finally like talk to your parents and you figure out like what the real issue is. Because like I said, for the longest time, I didn't think the issue to me was always them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what you think for the longest time. Or it's like some other shit, you know, not being able to like talk, you know, with yourself. But a lot of it just comes back to like reflecting on like.
Nick, you know, low-key, I always felt like we grew up with like the same.
Yeah, I felt like too when I was like watching you guys be friends, it was like you
was a
guys
lot of the
related
same.
a lot to
Soccer,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was a lot of the same. I feel like that's why like we've gotten along so well.
We talked about this once, like you were drunk as fuck.
In video or like face to
No,
face?
no, no.
Oh yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, about just like how we like grew up with like the same kind of parental like
Yeah.
issues or whatever.
Same thing that's been like drilled into you too. It's the same thing, yeah. But a lot, like I said, just when it comes to being lonely, when it comes to like wanting to shut up, just recognize that you should reflect back on it and realize what the issue is, self-love, and don't blame it on anyone unless like there is actual blame there.
Yeah.
You know, unless there's like actual blame there. You know, like I said, yeah, my dad did come home yelling, but like I said, I was not a fucking saint. You know, I wasn't like, he wasn't yelling at me for no reason.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, so
That's what we thought though.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, that's it. That's all I want to add.
On that note, I did want to close off with this. Like anybody watching this, feel free to like drop what you do to like help yourself in certain situations, like feeling lonely. What do you do to get your mind off of it? Because you never know. Somebody going through the comments might connect with you on that. They might take your word and that might help them. So if you feel comfortable, feel free to drop what you guys do as well.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if you want to put your story out there for somebody, we'd love to read it.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, yeah, everyone's different. So what we talked about might not work for you. If it does, that's great. But yeah, if you leave it in the comments, you might see something there.
You might help somebody at the end of the day.
Exactly.
But as long as you're comfortable.